Welcome. We are talking about the creator economy is migrating to Web3, which is very interesting because it's a fact already. So we only have to talk about the why and hows. And yeah, let me introduce my other panelists. We have Matteo from Meta, we have Sharif, and I would like to do it like this in this cozy environment. We all say like 1, 2, or more sentences about ourselves and our company. Guys, you start first, and then I go, and yeah.
First thing first, thank you for being here. I'm Sharif. I'm a digital artist, and I've been creating digital products for the past 10 years of my life. I'm now currently creating an animated show and animation studio and a game studio. And I'm here. I'm happy and excited to share the stage with these people. Anna, Matteo, thank you for being here too. And yeah, here we go. Matteo, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hi, Matteo here. I'm an engineering manager at Meta. I work in building infrastructure for the family of apps at Meta to bring Web3 technology and Web3 user experiences to the Meta developers.
Thank you so much. Yeah, my name is Anna Graf. I work as director NFT for a gallery called König Gallery and a marketplace that named MISA.Art. So this is really like we have this whole process of bringing creators that had never been in the space before into the space, and also adding additional artists from the digital art space to the fields that are already kind of native. Our claim is democratize the art world, and I think this is why we're here sitting together. How can we do this together best? And my first question, and that goes to you, is who considers themselves as a creator? Please raise your hands.
Creators, come on.
Cool. Well, that's already something. I mean, this is why we are here in this Web3 space. And beginning with this whole topic, what would you say is Web3? What does it mean for you, Sharif? Because it's such a wide field of Web3, and I think many people struggle with what it really is or what it means. So what is your definition?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I've seen the Web2 revolution, and I lived it and I worked with it. So, in general, the like, share, comment, all of those interactions, it's, one of my other main businesses is digital marketing, and creation of content. So I've seen that happening, and when I started, seeing a change that was ongoing, what people right now call Web3, it's basically I understood that the way we were interacting with this world, with this environment was changing. And, when people says that Web3 is really bringing back the powers into creators' hands, it's really true, and I really believe it's what's happening right now. At the same time, I'm used to create content and to build for artists, labels, publishing companies, et cetera, but now I'm building for myself. And I think that the technology that, the Web3 is bringing to the table is what is giving us this opportunity. Also companies like yours, of course, we're also developing, metaverse games, and it's all Oculus based. I think this is a big change, and like being a part of it, at first from a Web2 point of view and learning what was happening and embracing it, I think this is a major change that's going to literally shift the power into, who's actually creating, and not, mainly companies that just take advantage of creators. I think this is a really important thing.
What I really loved about what you said right now is that you can be both.
Yes.
You can be a creator and have a company, and it's all getting more and more interconnected. And now I want to hear from you, Matteo. What does Web3 mean for Meta, and how do you embrace this whole movement?
So I see the Web3 as, first of all, a set of new technologies. At the base of it, there's clearly the blockchain, and also a community of developer, entrepreneurs, creators. They're bringing basically property rights via this new technology to applications and services. I do think there's going to be, we do believe at Meta there's going to be a shift where Web 2 was more the power to the platform. Now that we clearly see the path towards giving some of that power back to the creators.
for me, I would always say in one sentence, Web3 is Internet of Values. And I think this is what we really bring together here. I also think it's an interesting panel, having somebody who's really building an NFT project right now, connecting influencers and everything. I have talked to Matteo already a lot, because of course we need the creators on that side. There I come in kind of with the artists that we bring, and we see that there are totally new and different connections being made, and this is really what I see as the extension also of Web 2 to transform it into Web 3. Now from the creator side, what would you say, because we talked about is migrating already, how many creators really see these opportunities at the moment, and how do they enter the space? How do they approach you?
I'll give you a brief example of something that I lived personally. My co-founder is a Grammy awarded music producer. I've been in that field for a while, and I'm seeing a big change happening in that space too. You know, usually when you're a music producer or a songwriter, you usually don't own anything anymore. You know, you give everything away in order for the song to be, you know, AAA, artist, #1 Billboard, etc., etc. So ownership for us was always a thing, you know. And while I was creating content for these artists, I realized quickly that, you know, something needed to change, and this is what Web3 is bringing. And the reason I just give this example is because, again, we have Grammy awarded people that right now are looking into this technology to understand how they can apply this technology, not just to their business, but also to their passion, which, you know, in this case is the music field. And I'm giving this example because, again, I lived it. And I saw it happening. And when we started our project in 2018, we knew that, you know, ownership was an issue, but we didn't have the solution. So once we saw that something was changing, and of course adoption was a thing, because you know that the first thing and the most important thing for a technology is to be adopted, we came out with this. And I'm seeing, as I told you, I also work with influencers, music producers, songwriters, artists, painters. All of these people are coming into the Web3, you know, world and taking a look to understand what's going on. We don't know yet, but...
Do you feel that they're still hesitant? Because it's so interesting what you say. With the digital artists, like 10 years ago, it was like you had a USB stick and then you got a paper certificate. So this was how you proved the ownership. It was super, super complicated. And I think this is also a reason why digital art is still in the traditional art world kind of seen as something, we don't really know. And this is such an opportunity. And I really want to hear from you too. How are creators dealing with that now at Meta? How do you help them understand and access the space?
So at Meta, we believe that the Web3 gives creators the opportunity to establish, first of all, a more direct, a personalized connection with their audience. And we also see new opportunities for the creator to monetize their IP and their content. We see that one of the challenge that today the Web3 has is the lack of users. So we like, you know, one of the contribution that we're focused on is like, how can we bring more mainstream users into the Web3? And we believe that this is going to benefit quite a bit the creators, giving them, you know, more power in their in the distribution of their IPs, their content, and new and different ways to monetize that content.
And what do you see as the biggest hurdle why this is not yet adopted in the mass market?
So I think today we're used to these very slick user interfaces. We're used to these amazing flows in Web 2 that have been kind of fine-tuned for years. So Web 3 is new, so there is a new interaction paradigm via wallets, and this poses a new challenge. But I think we shouldn't forget that this is very recent, it's very new. We're still in a very early stage. So I believe that some of the most smart people in the world are working on these problems. So in the next few years, probably we'll see wallets becoming so much more accessible, and the user flows are going to be much smoother. So simplifying access to Web3 via easier user interface, I think is going to be is today the biggest challenge.
And I think this leads to the next question. How centralized does Web3 still have to be to make it accessible to the masses? Because this is a question like many people last year said, oh, we don't need the third parties anymore. Yeah. Now I work for a gallery personally.
Yeah, don't hate me, but that's not what I think too. Don't hate me.
And I think all of us come from the side where we more see how can we really bring value to the space. And for me, I always feel like this has to be an evolution. So how is Meta thinking about this process of being part of the centralized system, but migrating to Web3?
So I believe the decentralization of Web 2 was a consequence of the architecture, some of the structure, right? For bad or good, we got very sleek user interface, super fast, services, but there was a centralization that happened. And this has happened at many levels. So it's centralization of technology, centralization of economic power, centralization of decision making, right? So I think we have to start distinguishing. What the Web3 offers is the tools and the primitives so that we can, depending on what service we are offering, we can centralize or decentralize certain things. The big thing is that data is getting decentralized right now. So I think that we're in the near future, if you have a bunch of followers on Instagram or Twitter, you're probably going to be able to export that through whatever platform you want. Similar to what Uniswap does today. Uniswap, the core service, runs on the Ethereum. Anybody can go and build a new interface, a new surface for the user to interact. So that's how we think. And that's why, for instance, my team is spending countless hours to integrate with every possible blockchain. So we're very open to the ecosystem. We want to work within the ecosystem. We want to work for the ecosystem. So I think in the short term, there are going to be some probably pocket of decentralization. I think the key red flag to me is the people that are making decisions about their service, how that is centralized or not. I'm less concerned about the tech parts. I'm more concerned about the governance and the economic power. And if I pick an example like OpenSea, I believe that yes, it is partially centralized. They still have some data that is off-chain, but I do have to say that they just released a new protocol for doing market of NFTs, and that's open source, and the data is on the chain, so anybody can go and just build a new OpenSea. And if you build a better service, then you're going to get the traction that you deserve.
It's interesting because many have tried, like looks rare. I don't know. What is the problem?
It's a volume issue. It's only marketing. But yeah, as you know, the technology is pretty impressive. How open source it is, and how it's moving to that.
So I think the key aspects at the end, I think the summarizer of this is the take rate. So look at what a platform the take rate is, and for Web 2 and Web 3, and if the take rate is like 2%, 2.5%, probably we're not in a fully decentralized system. Yeah, probably.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
That's a good KPI to work with. Sharif, how do you feel about this centralization?
What I said earlier, I really believe that we're on the edge of a big change and a big transformation, but at the same time we got to keep in mind that we're still living this world, this reality, and that's why I really believe that Web3 applications that understand this and you don't have to be a visionary too much. That's what I always say. If people tells me I'm a visionary, probably there's something wrong. So I'm a tech guy. I'm a nerd guy, and I've always been curious about these big changes. And I really believe that on some aspects we still need centralization, especially when we talk about security, safety, because the web, it's not safe. We know this in general, but the users are so new to this world that I really believe that for the good, we need to have a little bit of control still until, everybody, here we're probably, the few percentage in the world that understands what's going on,
Do we really understand? I don't know.
I mean, I don't, and I think, yeah, we got to be humble enough to accept this, and if I take in consideration safety, like especially for new users, when you onboard new people to the platform, I still think that we need, a process, to go through a process to have people understand what this is all about. And as Matteo said, like log in with your wallet, which also means log in with your funds. So, like if in Web3 your email is at stake, which is really, it's a bad thing, but when you log in with a wallet and, you got to take in consideration a few more points,
Yeah, it's a lot about self-responsibility. I think this is the thing. And centralization, for me, when you put it in a good way, is also trust. And I think when we
it's
talk
also
about
having somebody to write a ticket to and have an answer,
exactly.
which is,
so
I think that's important.
security means we need more trust, and the well-known companies, and this goes also for us as a gallery. When you go to OpenSea and you want to buy art, digital art, you get lost very, very easily. And this is the thing. And not only the customers ask for direction, but also the artists. And this is the most interesting part, why I think that last year's, like, you say visionary, I say maybe it was a bit too idealistic. I'm also a very idealistic person, but pragmatic. And I think this is like the sweet spot which leads to innovation and a process that really leads to something new. Because we can't just say these are the bad guys, we are the good guys. It's always the in-between.
Yeah, it's it's also like to talk about the tech side a little bit, in general, smart contracts, everything that's, full stake developing in general, and all these Web3 different applications. It's so new that, like my team is always, on the edge of creating something new. And it's the same for all of the builders. And that's why I believe that we still need a little bit of centralization. And I'm a Web3 guy, so I shouldn't say this, but I really believe it's important because the technology is so new. There's no antivirus that you just download and keep your wallet safe. So we need support from big tech companies right now, because they can offer the user base the help they need to be onboarded the right way. And then, of course, time will tell us, because again, it's something new. There's no guide, there's no book that you just read about, how you build a Web3 brand or a Web3 tech company. But I really believe that,
we
we're
should start writing one, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're the right people to write it still.
Who knows? Maybe together we do this. It's like, again, putting like forces together. This is really interesting. I also see like the first Wikipedias for Web3 coming right now, with all the terms, so that we onboard people. Because at the moment, how many people do really own NFTs? It's like 1.5 million maximum, and trading is even less. So, but I think Meta has now already launched like the first project in the US. How exactly does it work? Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Yeah, so we are testing the experience is called digital collectibles. We're testing, this is with Instagram, and the whole flow is based for artists, for creators like Sharif, to showcase their NFTs. So this is the first of many tests that we are planning to run this year. And we're going to also give the opportunity to do that across Instagram and Facebook. And this is our first step into the market. Our goal is to learn from the Web3 community, to work with the ecosystem, and to understand how we can best serve creators. The experience is fairly easy. If you have, we work with third-party wallets like MetaMask, Rainbow Wallet. You can authenticate yourself using the wallet. Actually, you can prove that you own certain NFT by basically
like
using
Twitter.
the wallet.
Many people know it from Twitter.
Yeah, so you can connect MetaMask, and for instance, if you have a CryptoPunk, then you can actually showcase your CryptoPunk on your stories on Instagram or on your post, and then the post will be marked as digital collectibles, and then we'll have a special UI treatment. So yeah, your follower should be able to recognize that it's a special post. Yeah, that's pretty much the experience today.
What blockchains are you working
Yeah,
with
so
at the
we
moment?
work with Ethereum, Polygon for now, and then support for Solana and Flow is coming soon.
That's really interesting, by the way.
Yeah.
Especially flow is super interesting, to be honest, because kind of from my journey, we started on the flow chain for art. Might not have been the right decision, but still, it is a super fast blockchain. And this is also something when we talk about adoption for the mass market and infrastructure. If everything was done on Ethereum right now, I think we would stay with the 1.5 million because it would just be too slow. And whoever tried to bought something like last year knows that the gas fees were like super, super high and you didn't get into a project. Is there anything, this is something I would really like to know from you guys, like all these, during this hype last year, it was really hard to get into projects. How do I find my community in
You
this
know,
space?
I really believe this is one of the main issues too. It's hard when something is, you know, this impactful, you know, and we can definitely see it from, you know, big newspapers, Forbes, Times, you know, all of this media companies too that were involved in this NFT hype or this Web3 explosion, right? I really believe that on this side, you know, there's few things that you know are gonna change, but you know, I really believe that the space was too small to fit everybody. The technology was too, you know, it was too early. You know, we've seen so many mistakes, people that locked over 20, 30 million dollars in a smart contract, and it's all because it's so new again, that I really believe that the big mistake was, you know, all that promotion, all of that exposure without knowledge turned into a lot of, you know, frauds, people that just created NFT projects to drain liquidity out of the ecosystem. And a lot of company based all of their, you know, structure on NFTs, which again, I said in my experience, you know, I believe that NFTs are a great technology to be implemented in a company, but I wouldn't base my company just on an NFT collection. You know, in our case, we're doing an animated show, and we have an NFT collection that allows you to enter the ecosystem. But it's more of a collector thing, you know, and I really think that that's what it's all about. I think that, again, there was too many news around and you know, not enough knowledge for sure, so people ended up on, you know, Discord servers getting knowledge from random anonymous people, and that's not the best, you know, but eventually you got to learn, you know, and we went through this phase with every new technology. It's always like this. It's all about, you know, getting the time to understand the technology, and as you said, how do I find my community? In my opinion, you know, it's all about, we're creating something, it's a media franchise, but, you know, just look for the things that you actually love, and, you know, just don't base everything just on a quick speculation, because when you're speculating...
This is so true. This is so true, especially for collectors. You know, this is also what I always say. And you were talking about understanding the technology. I don't really know whether everybody really has to understand the technology, and this is why I also think that digital collectibles will lead to a better understanding than NFTs, because when I talk to like collectors from the traditional art space, do they really want to know what an NFT is? Or do they want to have this art piece of their favorite artist and just enjoy it, have it in their wallet? And also, what I feel is still lacking is the way, how do we present the NFTs? Yes. I was visiting so many galleries in New York right now during NFT NYC, and I still feel that there's a lot of opportunities for builders who can really do physical stuff where you can present your NFTs. Because I think this is where it all comes back. You don't want to live fully in the digital world.
No.
I say maybe yet. I don't know what metaverses will look like in 10, 20, 40 years. I have no idea. I myself, I mean, we're sitting here in a large round, people interacting with one another after COVID, or during COVID, whatever, but I see that there's a lot of need also for people to go to the real world. And we as galleries and also as companies who work in this space, I think it's necessary to see how we show collectors what NFTs are and how they can enjoy it. Someone was saying me, like, make them more emotional. Accessible. And also what I have always seen, the biggest hurdle for many people is, oh my God, I need crypto to buy an NFT. Shit, crypto, ooh. But there are so many solutions right now. I mean, OpenSea, they came with MoonPay. For us, MISA.Art, when you go there, you have a Shopify shop experience. So you don't need any crypto for the purchase. You don't even need a wallet in the beginning. So for us, it's really about presenting art that people love, presenting digital collectibles, presenting music. Yes. And you don't talk about MP3. You say music. And for me, this is what it comes down to when we're talking about creator economy migrating to Web3. It's also like, do we really need all these terms that we were using as nerds or Web3 guys or however you consider yourself, or can we make it more accessible through language and the design, what you were talking about also? And how do you see this? Now, you said you were launching the first project, and do you think it's a good start doing this during the bear market, because you can learn a lot more?
So I'm not too concerned about the short-term situation, the current market side. I think, it's this, what we're seeing today, it's fairly normal when there's a new technology that comes to market, and there's a new primitive to build new experiences and services. People start experimenting. There's going to be obviously some hypes. NFTs is particular because it makes big news when somebody buys $69 million NFT. And when you talk about displaying arts, one of the things we're experimenting with is using our VR technology, Spark AR, actually to offer a much more immersive experience with your art and make it available also to your followers. So I think it's an area that's very interesting to us, and we're experimenting with it. So I do believe that. So I'm not concerned about the current situation. We're focused on the long term, and we're focused on really understanding how we can get to what I call an iPhone experience, which is most of us use an iPhone. We really don't have any idea how these things works. All we know that when we need it, we pull out the phone, push a button, and a car shows up 5 minutes later in front of you to take you wherever you want. So that's what we're thinking, our kind of North Star. And we're working every day to try to bring that to creators so they can make a better living by selling and doing what they love, basically.
Yeah, and honestly, just because I want to connect to what Matteo said about the opportunity that this technology is bringing in general to artists. So VR, it's something really unique, and for us builders, like in our case, right? I come here, I sit in here, and I explain you what we're building, right? It's, you might be, your imagination might be strong enough to feel it, right? To understand. But if I come here, I give you an Oculus, you just actually see it. You interact with it. So this is another thing too. Again, I'm not concerned about short-term fluctuations. I know for sure that, if Web 2 was a screen with keys that you interacted with, and then we got touch screen and we were like, wow, this is crazy, right? But if you think about it, how old it is. How old it is. A screen interface, like a website, how old it is. How it looks like 1996, except it's styled better, right? But now you have a whole new experience, which again, you can showcase a sculpture, you can showcase a painting, you can have a pitch presentation in an Oculus, and it's pretty different. I can tell you for sure, because we're used to this, and Oculus is pretty impressive. We're also creating games, right? It's something that we would have never thought about, because again, we're building a cartoon universe, but now you want to feel our metaverse? Yeah. This is your Oculus. Enjoy it, you know. And I think this is a big change for artists. Even if you're a musician, you know, you put Oculus, you can attend concerts, and it's pretty impressive. I will say that it's a big change that excites me a lot, honestly. This new way of interacting with the world, you know, I'm pretty impressed, honestly.
I so love the passion you're bringing in here, by the way. This is just really amazing. And we wanted to open the stage for questions, but before we go there, when you meet a creator that has no idea about Web3 or whatever and asks you like, how can I get in there? What do you tell them?
It's pretty hard, but at the same time, I have quite a few examples. You know, when it's music, when it's art, the first thing I say, of course, is, do you want to own what you create? And of course they say yes. And I'm like, okay, you don't right now. So I'll explain you, okay? And of course, the knowledge around it's, you know, little pieces here and there of knowledge. But, you know, like I really push them into understanding what's going on. And, you know, not all of them are tech guys. So as Matteo said, interfaces, the way to interact, it's still a little bit too technical, you know. And you know, once the, you know, big platforms will integrate, you know, a new sleek way, new design, a new interface where I can, you know, most of the people just want to click and interact with it, you know, without having to go on at Etherscan, interact with the smart contract, you know, like. It's a lot of things for people to digest, you know. I think that this is a big change, and you know, eventually we'll see in 5 years where we're gonna be, you know.
Yeah. Matteo.
Invest $200 to buy a first NFT.
That's a very good thing. Experience.
So
yeah.
I think, yeah. So I think, I mean, it's the same thing I tell my engineers when they first join the team. Is like, invest, you know, a few $100s, money that you can afford to lose, and then go buy an NFT, participate in, you know, with the community, and then find a friend, find somebody that you trust to take you through the experience and understand the pros and cons of different solution.
This is the best thing. It's so interesting that you say this, because for our company, what I did with the last project, I said, everyone gets this for free. You just have to do the whole process. And this was the moment when they didn't see me as an alien anymore. I think, because before it was like, this NFT lady, oh, it's kind of, you know, you come to this gallery, it's really traditional artists, it's this very exclusive space. And this goes for either side, because I also had this artist, he is a traditional painter. And he gave me a call when I said, you know what, Anna, I want to do an NFT. I said, cool, that's nice. How do you want to do this? And he really had this idea, he wanted something 3D and animated. I said, well, can you do this? Like, have you learned Blender? No, I haven't, but I appreciate your help. So I got him a studio, we did this NFT, and for him, he told me later, it was like opening a whole new experience. He says that even when he goes back to painting, he will never do it the same way as before, because it has extended his whole mindset so much.
I have a little example. One of my friends, he take pictures of birds, right? Yeah. And you know, it's not something so hyped, all right? You know, it's not like, I don't know how many of you guys would buy birds pictures, you know? But eventually I was like, why don't you start an NFT collection, you know? And then eventually he started. I was his first buyer, of course. But now he has a community, a little community of people that are excited. This is another thing too. Little niches, you know, like interest, group of people, you know. We lost this a little bit, and I think it's coming back. So we share some interest. Let's join a community together. Let's talk. Let's, you know, and this is bringing us back to, you know, being more human, which is crazy, you know.
And let's give back to the creator, because it's the thing. What I haven't talked about it, royalties. It has not existed before. So the artist participates also in the secondary market always.
Yes.
And this is something like with the meme culture, it was basically for free all the time. And now people can participate, and when people really love their content, and I think this is what it all comes back to where we started. When you love the content, the creator should be honored for this. And this is what we bring together here. And now we have a few minutes left. So is there a question in the audience? Feel free to
Don't
ask,
be shy.
Or are you like, Okay, overwhelmed, no. Yeah, there's a question. Do we have a mic?
I can bring it there.
No, I think we have
Okay.
mics. Raise your hand again. I think they don't see it.
To your mouth.
Hi, what's your name?
Roman, thanks for sharing so many insights. Earlier we heard that we can't expect infinite growth in a finite economy, and here I'm using this example for like how do you want to, or how do you imagine bridging an infinite digital world and limiting it through, for example, NFTs. So where do you think there's a good combination of giving infinite potential and infinite opportunities, but still like storing some of the concepts or ideas in limited accessories?
Matteo, how you want to answer?
Yeah, of course. If you go first.
So if I look back at the early days of the internet, I was in school back then, and I remember hearing economic projection for the whole economy of the internet. And I think the biggest one was like $1 billion.
Yeah, now you're
So,
laughing.
I guess my point is like, I don't know exactly what's going to happen in the next 2 to 5 years, but I think we're in a phase now with Web3 that we are establishing new primitives, new building blocks for experiences and applications that they're going to come in the next few years. I don't know how they're going to turn out, but I think I think it's going to be overall the GDP there's going to come out of the Web3 is going to be bigger than what I'm pretty bullish on what we can imagine today. And so certainly it's not going to be infinite, but I think it's going to be bigger than we think.
Yeah, sorry. If you have something else to say, I'll wait and then I'll answer. But it's just a little answer real quick. Yeah, I mean, quantum computers, right? That's one of the big things that, it's probably we're going to see in our lifespan. I think that every time that we have a technology, we just really undervalue the next one until it's too big. And yeah, I see what you're saying. The space is limited. How can you give, space to this infinite growth? It will eventually find a way. And I'm pretty sure that, as every company, we also might be one of those, but we don't know. Let's see, 98% of the companies will just simply disappear. So the space will be freed simply because the way it was being built was not right, or many different things. So yeah, there's a lot of potential, but I'm also pretty sure that as Web 2 gave us 100 big tech companies, right, that are now NASDAQ listed, it's going to happen the same every time. I don't think that we're going to see millions of huge companies everywhere around the world and we're going to live in a cyberpunk, future. But, I'm pretty sure that a lot of things are going to change and a lot of things are going to disappear, leaving the space for others to create.
And I think it's always about shifts. History, when you look back, as Sharif and Matteo said, it has already happened before, yes. Maybe with some other things, but we can learn from that. And there are always these waves. When a new technology enters the space, then there's the hype goes down. But those who build, they will still exist after many years. And those are the ones who really lead the direction. So, but you had another additional...
I'll have to rephrase my question. I wasn't talking about the market size, but more like when does it make sense to make something digital infinite as finite? So like using Minecraft as a very basic example, like will all of the blocks be a NFT, or once it's assembled, it's an NFT, or where do you see that a good balance between there?
Do you feel like it's getting too much?
No. Like for me, it's just. Like when does it make sense? Like once you have a purchaser, or
you'll eventually find a purchaser. This is the point. But yeah, I agree with you. Like if you go on OpenSea, you'll probably find 246 million NFTs. And one is just a dissect frog that laughs, you know, and you're like, what am I looking at? But eventually, as I said, it's also about, you know, like small niches, you know, and group of people. I see like Bored Ape, right? That's a big media franchise, which was, you know, eventually, you know, the direction is mass adoption, right? Okay, we're creating a media franchise, whatever. But if you do ice sculptures, trust me, there's at least 5,000 people around the world that will eventually collect your thing and that are in love with ice sculptures. So
You just have to find you, and this is what
Yes.
we're talking about, like in this panel. How much centralization do we need so that we match? We're kind of matchmakers in a way, you know? We match supply and demand. This is what galleries have always been doing in the past as well. And this is why more and more artists and creators are asking for this matchmaking process, because there are these 5,000 people. How do I find them? What do I need to find them? And then it all makes sense again. For me, it doesn't make sense to like, oh yeah, I'm in this picture. Why should I do this? There is no need for that. Of course, you should also be like balanced with resources. This is very important when you always talk about this eco-friendliness. Yeah, we can start with being eco-friendly by not minting anything that we do each day. It might not be necessary, yeah? But if we find these niches, as you said, this is what Instagram showed us in the past, you know? Finding people that love your niche. And when you really did well on Instagram, you had your niche. Same thing, TikTok, whatever. Find the people that love your content, get connected with them, and then there will be no problem with finding a buyer.
Yeah, so I agree with that. The key thing is that I hope your take rate is not too high. Yeah, so that's one of the value proposition we're trying to, somewhat value we're trying to add to the community. Use Web2 distribution channels to quickly find your community or your community of followers, no matter how big and small. And you can find it anywhere in the world. I mean, we're rolling out in the US, but we're planning to roll out in many other countries soon.
Exactly, and this is where we'll connect again. And now I see we have 1 minute left. Thank you so much for having this very nice discussion. And I think my takeaway is, like from most of these discussions, we will extend this very small space, which we're still at, by educating others, by sharing our experiences, by finding the right people, and you are all kind of ambassadors. Right now, in your position, we are all ambassadors for Web3. Whatever we do, let's connect, let's stay in touch. Thank you, Sharif. Thank you, Matteo.
Thank you guys. Thank you for your time.
Amazing,
Thank you.
and thank you so much.